Hello and welcome to BU 201, Introduction to Grant Writing. My name is Erica Newland and I will be your instructor this semester. To begin, I would like to give you a bit of a course overview for this semester, so you know what to expect. This course is designed to provide an introduction to grant opportunity research, program development, and proposal writing. Each week will be dedicated to a different component of the grant proposal development process. Please take some time this week to read through our syllabus and explore the Moodle course pages for a breakdown of readings and assignments each week. We will be reading The Complete Book of Grant Writing by Nancy Burke Smith and E. Gabriel Works. This book provides a general overview of the grant writing process and the different sections often required in proposals. This is an introductory book to the grant proposal writing process. I will also link to supplement readings and resources throughout the Moodle course. Today we will start with some basic information about the grant proposal process. For this week's assignment, you will be asked to identify a need or an issue area that you would like to find grant funding to help support. Throughout the course of this semester, you will research funding opportunities and develop multiple sections of a proposal to build a final grant proposal that will address the issue you identified. This can be any topic that you like. It can be a topic related to your program of study. It can be an issue you are familiar with from your job. It can be an issue you are passionate about. Or it can be a random selection you draw out of a hat. I would recommend that you choose something of interest to you as you will be working with this topic until the end of the semester. Selecting a topic is not always easy to do. If you find yourself starting to think yourself in circles, stop and take a break. If you are still struggling towards the end of the week, reach out and we can brainstorm ideas. Each week, you will have a discussion board post, and some weeks you will have short quizzes, both associated with your readings and the lecture content. Your discussion post will be graded in two parts. The first from your original post is due by Wednesday at midnight, and second from your discussion board responses due by Sunday at midnight. On weeks that have writing assignments, you will upload your assignment to the Class BU 201 OneDrive folder. You will find a link to the shared folder in the Moodle course page. Writing assignments will also be graded in two parts, from your written assignment and from peer review comments on a classmate's work. Writing grant proposals is often a collaborative effort. Before you submit any proposal, you will want to have at least one other person review your work to correct any spelling and grammatical mistakes, as well as to make sure you are conveying your point comprehensively and concisely. All writing, including grant proposal writing, is a process that will go through many revisions. So oftentimes, the more eyes on your proposal, the better. This peer review component will help get you used to providing and receiving constructive feedback. So, what is a grant proposal? You often hear the term grant writing. This term is somewhat inaccurate in how it is used. What we are writing is a proposal in response to some identified need or issue. There are thousands, millions surely, of reasons why you might want to write a grant proposal. Perhaps you work for a school that is designing an after-school tutoring program, or the roads in your community need to be repaired, or your organization wants to host cultural learning events each month. Each of these project examples require planning and support from multiple stakeholders, and of course, funding. But a successful proposal is not just about the money. It's a call to action. Grant writing and proposal writing are terms that are used interchangeably. I tend to use the term proposal writing more often, but use the term that works for you. The following video helps answer the question, what is a grant? Different entities can apply for grant funding. There are programs in which individuals can submit grant proposals to support their needs or work. For example, an individual artist could develop a grant proposal to a program that supports creative public installations, or a student could submit a proposal to help fund their individual travel to a conference that they are participating in. There is often some terminology overlap between individuals' grants, public assistance programs, and scholarships. Each of these areas offer types of financial support, but there are differences in each categorization. Businesses or for-profit organizations are also eligible to apply for grant funding. For example, small business grant programs exist to help business startup cost, marketing campaigns, or business plan development. There are grants for biomedical research and development, as well as grants for technology and defense companies. The majority of grant funds are awarded to nonprofit organizations and usually support operations or specific projects and for a specified amount of time. Within this course, we will talk about grant work within the nonprofit sector, funds that are awarded from a nonprofit, public, or private entity to nonprofit organizations. A nonprofit organization, most often designated as a 501c3 by the IRS, is a tax-exempt organization that is created to serve the public interest. There are many other categories that fall under the nonprofit umbrella, such as local municipalities and governments. The structure and classification of an organization is important to identify when researching eligibility requirements for grant programs. We will talk more about this later. There are 26 different types of nonprofits, including public schools, colleges and universities, religious organizations, museums, volunteer organizations, etc. Bay Mills Community College, Boys and Girls Clubs of America, the American Red Cross, and NPR are just a few examples of nonprofits. Simply, they do not declare a profit. After general operating expenses that may include staff, space, supplies, etc., have been paid, all additional revenue is used to serve the public in some capacity. Once you have identified your need and clarified your organization classification, nonprofit versus for-profit, how do you find grant opportunities? There are many ways to research grant opportunities, and we will explore these more over the next 2 weeks. Different resources exist to support your search for government and private, most often foundation, grant opportunities. Oftentimes, a proposal is developed in response to an announcement from a funding source, announced as an RFP or request for proposal. However, you can also identify funding opportunities that are not posted through an RFP. You will see this most often through foundation funding. Announcements can also come out under different names. For example, many federal agencies will post opportunities through a NOFO, or Notice of Funding Opportunity, or a NOFA, Notice of Funding Announcement. Request for Proposals or Other Funding Announcement is essentially an invitation to submit a proposal. In the RFP, the funder will outline the guidelines to which they will accept proposals. Information found in the RFP may include the date proposals are due, entity eligibility, budget information, project period timelines, how proposals are to be submitted, formatting requirements, and other information. Some grant programs will have specific due dates, while others may have an open application timeline. It's important to identify the due date to ensure that you have enough time to develop a full proposal and to establish a timeline to complete your proposal. The RFP or funding announcement will also clarify who is eligible to apply. Eligibility is often limited to nonprofit organizations and can be further limited. For example, some grant programs are only open to K-12 schools or public municipalities. Check this right away so you do not waste your time preparing a proposal that you are not eligible for. The RFP will usually state the total funds available and the total amount you can request. The project period will also vary. Some funders will support projects for 12 months, while others will support projects for 5 years. Make sure you identify this information to plan your proposal appropriately. The way you submit your proposal can also vary. Many proposals now are submitted through online portals. Almost all federal proposals are submitted through grants.gov, and many state and foundation funders have an online submission process. In some cases, you simply email your proposal as an attachment. Formatting guidelines are also important to clarify, to include the maximum number of pages allowable, if a table of contents or cover page are required, and font and margin guidelines. There are sample RFPs posted on the Moodle course page. Feel free to search for grant funding opportunities through online search engines such as grants.gov, where you can find hundreds of different announcements for federal or public grant opportunities. Once you have identified a government agency that aligns with your organization or programmatic goals, you can sign up for a mailing list to receive announcements for upcoming opportunities as they are published. This is also the case for other privately funded opportunities through foundations or other endowments. We will discuss how to research opportunities more in weeks 2 and 3. In addition to the funding announcement information, such as the due date and budget restrictions, an RFP, or funding announcement, will usually lay out the required proposal sections and scoring criteria. Proposal components will vary depending upon the funder and the size of the grant, but there are common sections of most proposals that include, number 1, an executive summary, which is a brief summary of your organization and what this project hopes to accomplish. The purpose, often included as the needs statement. The project description, the section that will describe the goals and objectives of your proposal, what you want to accomplish. A work plan, which is structured to include a timeline that helps describe the activities that will take place and by whom. And finally, budget and budget narrative, or budget justification, what you are spending money on and why. Funding announcements may also describe additional proposal requirements, such as the evaluation plan. This is the section where you will describe how you are defining and measuring success. We will talk more about this section towards the end of the semester. Organization information. The funding announcement may request information about your board of directors, the history of your organization, mission statement, etc. And other attachments, which may include letters of support, IRS determination letter proving 501c3 status, financial information, and more. Different funding opportunities will require different sections, so each grant proposal will look a bit different. There are many important details to consider when developing a grant proposal, and we will talk about these more as we move on to our writing assignments. As you progress through this course, try to keep in mind the following tips. Know your audience. We will talk more about the differences between government and foundation proposals in subsequent weeks. For each new proposal, try to think about who will review your proposal. Is this a panel of content experts or the board of a foundation? Knowing who you are writing to helps tailor your language appropriately. Know your deadline and always meet it. If you try submitting a proposal late, it will most likely not be reviewed. Simple as that. Follow the instructions on the funding announcement very closely. Federal agencies in particular are known to be stringent when it comes to their guidelines. If they request 12-point Times New Roman font double space with 1-inch margins, you better make sure to use 12-point Times New Roman font double space with 1-inch margins. They may not review your proposal if it does not follow these guidelines. This is an easy way for agencies to toss out proposals right off the bat. Understand what the questions are asking and answer fully and completely in a concise manner. Some applications will have word or even character limits, in which case you will need to make the greatest impact in as few words as possible. Today, almost all grant proposals will be submitted electronically via email or an online portal. Generally speaking, do not use jargon. Jargon is using words or expressions that are used by a particular profession or group and are difficult for others to understand, defined by New Oxford American Dictionary. For example, if your proposed project will partner with another organization, spell out the name of the other organization as opposed to the abbreviation. Don't make the proposal reviewer have to look up information or go back to prior pages of your proposal to find a name. From my own experience, this can be difficult and frustrating to read. Again, for this week's assignment, you will identify a need or an issue area that you would like to find grant funding to help support. Throughout the course of the semester, you will develop multiple sections of a proposal to build a final proposal that will address the issue you have identified. Your topic can be related to your course of study, it can be an area of interest, or a real need you have identified within your community. Be sure to choose something you are passionate about so you don't lose interest by the end of the semester. Also try to narrow your topic. This will be helpful when we get into writing assignments. For example, if you want to focus on sustainability initiatives in your community, try to pare this down to 1 or 2 specific ideas. It could be the purchase and implementation of solar panels for the tribal office, or a youth education program about composting waste. Broad ideas are wonderful, but they can be difficult to transition into a grant proposal. If you get stuck, send me a message and we can work through your ideas.